Hey, this is Mrs. Schultz, and I'm going to be taking you through a short PowerPoint on genre in Fahrenheit 451. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury is the next novel that we are going to be reading in this class. So there are a couple of key terms that I'd like you to be familiar with before we start the novel. The first one is satire, the second one is utopia, and the third one is dystopia. Satire is the genre of Fahrenheit 451. So satire is a way of using humor that shows the weakness or bad qualities of a person, government, or society. You can probably think of some examples on your own, but one that comes to mind immediately are political cartoons. Saturday Night Live, The Family Guy. We see ways that all of those things poke fun at American culture, at our politicians, at our government as a whole, and points out some of our flaws. Some specific elements of satire: they use mockery to demonstrate flaws in human nature and American culture, if it's American satire, makes people aware of these flaws, inspires people to create change. And I think that that's probably the most important thing about satire when we're talking about Fahrenheit 451, because the novel, I see it really as a call to action to make changes in the direction that our culture was going in 1953 when Ray Bradbury wrote the novel. And you will see irony and sarcasm oftentimes in satire. You will not necessarily see sarcasm in this novel, but irony definitely. So some examples of satire in pop culture these days, we have SpongeBob SquarePants, The Colbert Report, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn you'll be reading next year, so that will come up again when you are juniors. And The Family Guy, The Simpsons. I will be sharing a clip of satire in The Simpsons. I'll share that clip at the end of this presentation, and I'd like you to watch that. It's very short, and answer a question regarding the satire. So the second term we're going to look at is utopia. You've probably heard this before, but basically I want you to picture a heaven, an imaginary place where everybody is in a state of utter happiness. Things are perfect. If you see it in a novel, you might see it sort of a futuristic society in which all problems have been solved. People are happy, maybe they're living forever. But you can imagine if it's going to be an interesting novel, that's probably going to unravel, and you're going to find out there are a lot of secrets being hidden, and perhaps that place is a dystopia. So dystopia you are probably more familiar with from novels like the Divergent series or from the Hunger Games. It's an imaginary place where people are actually unhappy and usually very afraid because they are not treated fairly. It usually takes place in the future, and the images that come to mind are sort of burnt out buildings, bombed out cities, and places where people are hiding, they're in fear. Maybe there's a pandemic going on. Those are dystopian ideas here. So again, a couple images of dystopian literature. And some more. If you haven't read The Giver, that might have been a 7th grade book in Dedham. I'm not really sure now, but it's great and it's scary, and you probably have some time on your hands right now. I recommend going back and reading it. It's freaky. Okay, so a couple of big questions, and you're going to be answering these in a moment. First one is, why do people create utopias in books, film, and television? Think about that one. Answers may vary. I'd like to know what you think. What could be some possible reasons for creating that idea in a book? And why do people like Ray Bradbury create dystopias in books, film, and television? Your ideas might overlap on those two, but try to tease them out and see if you can come up with more than the most obvious answers to those questions. Again, there will be another question about the Simpsons clip that I'm sharing with you. And I'm also sharing another screencast about Ray Bradbury in this posting. I did not create that screencast. But yeah, so all right, have a good day.